Let's begin with the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to everyone this evening, both those online and here in person. Just a reminder, we are live streaming. Since this is our annual reorganization meeting, I'll be presiding over the meeting until president is elected. So we will begin with oath of office, but this year we have none that need to be given. So moving on to the next item, annual conflict of interest forms. So asking for approval for those forms for Travis and Lori Shepard.
So moved.
Motion by Pat.
Second.
Second by Earl. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Then abstain from Pat. Thank you. Next up, compensation approval. So the board currently receives $2,000 a year for service plus a per diem of $100 for regular meetings and $60 for special meetings. That isn't the maximum amount allowed by the state. So asking for a motion of the amount that you would prefer to stay with what you've had or to increase that amount.
I make a motion that we,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I make a motion that we leave our rate the same, not increase it.
Second.
Second by Earl. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. And then moving right on to electing officers. So beginning with the election of a president. So if we have a motion to nominate.
I'd like to nominate Amy Pettit.
Second. Second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? And I will happily turn this over to you.
I'll abstain from that one too. All right, so we'll move on to vice president. We'll entertain nominations for the position of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Cheryl Miller, please.
We have a nomination for Cheryl Miller.
Second.
Okay, so we have a first and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 6-0. Any abstain? 1. Cheryl abstains. Next, we'll move on. Congratulations, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to secretary. Do we have a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Pat.
I have a nomination for Pat. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Cheryl. Any discussion? All those in favor? And any abstain? So I've got 6 in favor and Pat abstains. Next, we'll move down to appointing treasurer and deputy treasurer. We'll recommend, you want to recommend, Nikki? Want me to recommend?
I recommend Philip Marsh.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a recommendation for Philip Marsh as treasurer, and then for deputy treasurer.
Myra Fishboat.
Okay, so we'll take those as a one vote. So do I have a motion to accept those as recommended?
So moved.
I have a motion by Travis. I have a second by Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next, we'll move down to executive secretary.
I'd like to recommend Debbie Andis.
Okay, we have a recommendation for Debbie to be executive treasurer. Do I have a motion? Motion by Earl. Do I have a second? Second by Travis. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. So that takes us down to board meeting dates, schedule. I think the board, go ahead.
Yes, the proposed dates are in your packet. It follows the regular schedule of the 2nd and 4th of the month, except for where noted on the calendar. So we're asking for approvals.
So do we have a motion to accept those board meeting dates as presented?
So moved.
Have a motion by Mary Lynn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cheryl. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next, we'll entertain, you want to make a recommendation on legal counsel.
Yes, I'd like to recommend Jason Judd as legal counsel.
Okay, we have a recommendation, Jason Judd, for legal counsel. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Motion by Pat. Do I have a second?
Second.
second by Travis. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next, we'll take a recommendation for NSBA Legislative Liaison.
Mary Lynn Whitcomb.
Okay, so we have a recommendation for Mary Lynn Whitcomb to take that position. Do I have a motion? Motion by Chelsea. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Carol. Any discussion? All those in favor? And any abstain? Mary Lynn. Mary Lynn abstains, 6-0. Debbie. Next, we have an ISBA Policy Liaison.
I'd like to recommend Pat Sullivan.
Yeah, so we have a recommendation. Do I have a motion to accept that recommendation?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mary Lynn. Do I have a second? Second by Chelsea. Any discussion? All those in favor? 6. Any abstain? Pat abstains, 6-0. Next, we'll entertain a motion to allow the board president to appoint individual board members to committees and representatives to various organizations.
So moved.
I have a motion by Pat. Do I have a second? Second by Chelsea. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. So next we'll go through committee appointees. I think what you'll find is that most of these, all of them, will be the same as what we had for last year, but I'll go through and name all of the committees for appointees. So the first is for the Transportation Committee. We have 2 representatives. That will be Cheryl Miller and Earl Taggart. For the Athletic Council representatives, there will be 2 represented by the board. That'll be Amy Pettit and Earl Taggart. For the Wellness Committee representatives, that will be 1 person, and that will be Amy Pettit. For the Facilities Committee representatives, there will be 2. We'll have Chelsea Morrison and Pat Sullivan. For the Essential Services Committee representative, that's 1 position. It'll be Travis Shepard. For the NSBA Affiliate Advocacy representative, that's 1 individual. That will be Mary Lynn Whitcomb. For the Area Plan Commission, that will be 1 individual, and that's Travis Shepard. For the North Vernon Redevelopment Commission representative, that's 1 individual, and that's Pat Sullivan. For the Jennings County Redevelopment Commission representative, that's 1 individual, and that's Cheryl Miller. And then we have 1 volunteer representative committee, and that's for the JCHS Alumni Hall of Fame Selection Committee. That meets 1 time per year, and that volunteer is Mary Lynn Whitcomb. As I said last year, I think sometimes you forget when you're on a board the requirements and the commitment of your time and services. So I just want to say thank you to all of the board members for their dedication to the school corporation and to our kids, and our kids first. So thank you for your willingness to serve on those committees. So that should take us in the agenda down to consent agenda items. So if we'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda items. Motion by Earl. Do I have a second? Second by Travis. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. So now we'll ask if anyone is present from the community who would like to speak to an item that is on the agenda or any other topic. Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to old business, and we have some Neola policies. Nikki?
We are ready to ask for approval of Neola policies. I'd like to take them in a group, if that's okay.
Absolutely. So do I have a motion to accept the Neola policies?
So moved.
I have a motion by Pat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mary Lynn. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next down under finances, we have an appropriation transfer.
Well, that's just an inform.
Okay.
That's the normal year end to close out the books from the State Board of Accounts standpoint.
Okay, so no action.
Yeah, you guys had the resolution in December. This is just the detail of it for
Okay.
you guys to sign off on.
Great.
Yep.
Great.
It's the finalization of it.
Perfect.
Next up is the 2024 roofing project, which is going to be at Sand and Scipio this summer. And I was asking for approval. South Central was the low bidder, so I'm asking for approval to finalize that.
So asking for approval for South Central Roofing to get the bid for the roofing projects at Sand Creek and Scipio Elementaries.
So moved.
I have a motion by Travis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Pat. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? 7-0. Next, under new business.
Just sharing a first reading of Neola policies, another set of them. If anybody has any questions, if you'll reach out, I'll be happy to look into those for you.
And that is a first reading, so a little light bedtime reading for everybody. Next, we'll go down under programs. Carrie?
Yes, this is just an informed presentation from the IDOE on the iLearn redesign. iLearn will change its format in the 25-26 school year. So this is giving you a heads up. We have an opportunity to pilot these changes next year. And you do have a presentation in your folder. Go ahead. The first picture is just a picture. There are 12 other states that are doing a same kind of transition to through the year testing. So right now we just have one large test at the end of the year, a summative test. What we're moving to is some checkpoints before we get to that summative test. Some people are using the same blueprints for each checkpoint. Some are using unit modules. And what we're in Indiana is using is a scope and sequence. So there are two major goals to this. The first one is to improve the quality and usefulness of state assessment systems through innovation. And how are they going to do this? How do they plan on doing this? Is to provide actionable data for educators and families, and we'll go into more details about that. At the end, not next year through the pilot, but in the 25-26 year, there will be a shortened summative assessment. So it won't be as long as we've had, and it'll still be in the same time frame. They're also planning to connect teachers directly to instructional supports for students, and then provide end of the year reports that consider student performance across the entire year. So we'll be receiving data at 3 checkpoints, and then also the summative assessment at the end. When we do start this, it should reduce overall testing by incorporating required data points into a single system. So some formative assessments where we have to pull some data throughout the year, hopefully some of this will take its place. And that's something we're gonna have to look through to see what formative assessments we'll still need to keep and what this data will give us. It'll also provide quality PD for assessments in instruction and data literacy. The second goal is to provide actionable data for educators and families. They will provide a dynamic reporting systems for educators, and this data we will get throughout the year. Instead of at the end of the year after they've taken the summative test, we will get data throughout the year. The very first checkpoint that I'll talk about, they said it'll take us 4 or 5 days to get the data, and then from that point after the checkpoints, it'll take a 24-hour period. So educators will get immediate data that they can use to help inform their instruction in the classroom and remediation and intervention. It will also provide families with data throughout the school year. If you remember, like iStep and iLearn, at the end of the year, you would get the information, you could go in the portal and you could check. This will be a process where families will be able to look throughout the year, depending on each data point. Provide year-round information for instructional responses. It'll be able to connect teachers to immediate resources and intervention or remediation at that time. Highlight learning progressions, masteries of standards at the time of learning. And it'll provide 100% alignment to Indiana state standards. The other part of this is the checkpoints are low-stake data. Students will be given multiple chances for the same test. And I'll explain that here in just a second. So what we'll be able to find out is what students know at that time when they take that test, and we won't have to wait until the end of the year. So the next one, this is it. So last spring, the DOE had asked school districts for their, when we taught standards, so they took our feedback to come up with a scope and sequence from across the state. And so that's what we're looking at here. So if you take a look at checkpoint 1, it's a 9-week window where students are going to be given teachers will be given, the educators will be given the opportunity to take a test anytime during a 9-week window. It'll open mid-September, and at that time, students will be tested over 4 to 7 standards, and it'll be 20 to 25 items. And then there'll be a checkpoint 2, more in the middle of the year. It'll be a little bit wider of a window because it's around Christmas and there are different, I think it's a 10-week period. And then there will be a checkpoint 3, same thing. At each of these checkpoints, there'll be 4 to 7 standards, 20 to 25 items. Then at the end, there'll be a final shortened summative assessment that will only be 30 to 35 items. So it won't be as long as we are taking it now. Next year during the pilot year though, everyone will still take the longer final assessment. This is just for math and ELA. They may do science or social studies in the future, but at this time, this is just for math and ELA. If you take a look at the next screen though, this is a little bit broken down deeper. Students will take that first checkpoint sometime after mid-September in that 9-week period. Teachers will have the flexibility to give it when they want to give it within that 9-week period. Once I give that checkpoint and I receive the data, then I'll be able to use that data to help me with my instruction. It'll also help me with remediation and interventions with students. Once I feel like I've remediated or intervened with students, what I will be able to do is then give that checkpoint 1, I will be able to retest it on those same standards. I can use that checkpoint retest all the way up to the summative assessment. So there'll be that checkpoint 1, and then I'll be able to retest one more time to see if my interventions and remediation work with students. If a student does fine on that checkpoint and they do not have to be remediated or no intervention, they do not have to take it again. We don't want to overtest. And so if a student has mastered those standards and they don't need to do it again, then they won't have to. So you'll have the 3 checkpoints, which is what's different for us now in that shortened assessment. Throughout this year, all that data will be provided for teachers. And so I think it will, it'll be in the slides in just a second. But they'll be able to use that data throughout the year instead of waiting till the end of the year, which is a big key to teachers. And then on the next slide, it's kind of hard to read up here, but this is just a blueprint that a teacher will have. And if you look, it shows all the standards, and then it shows what standards will be tested during each checkpoint. So teachers are able to instruct according and then test according to whatever that was in that window. Once again, they'll have one checkpoint, and then they can redo that throughout that whole year until they get to that summative assessment. And so if you look then, if you take a look to the right here, the right is our current. I change my instruction over time to become stronger and more efficient to better meet the needs of my students. That's what we're doing now, and that's looking at the whole system. What this is moving to is more direct and immediate. I change my instruction right away for a specific student to meet a specific student need that has been identified. It allows me to change my instruction throughout the year. I don't have to wait. I really think it's going to be helpful to us. Next year will be a pilot year, so we'll be able to implement the checkpoints and the checkpoint retest, but the summative assessment will still be the same for next year. The year after that, that summative assessment will be shorter. Any questions? It's just an inform.
I look forward to seeing how that works.
Yeah.
Anything that can be done more real time and make adjustments, I think it would be good, but we look forward to seeing the great results. So next we go down under professional staff. We have some recommendations.
Yes, please. I'd like to ask for approval for the following recommendations. Chris Billings as the Jennings County High School Assistant Lighting Director. Michael Bowen as the Sand Creek Elementary Teacher. Joe Hausberger as the Jennings County High School Building Trades and Civil Construction Teacher.
We'll entertain a motion to accept those as read. Motion by Mary Lynn, second by Earl. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next we'll go down under support staff. There's a list of recommendations.
Yes, ma'am. asking approval for the following recommendations. Abigail Banks as the Sand Creek Elementary Parapro, Sophia Barrett as the Jennings County High School Librarian, Jelena Belding as Jennings County High School Volunteer Assistant Track and Field Coach, Layla Chandler as Brush Creek Elementary Parapro, Lexi thank you. I always have to stop and think, compare the two. Jennings County Schools Bus Aide, David Greider, Jennings County High School Sped Parapro, Dylan Griffin, Jennings County High School Athletics Support, Leah Harriman, Jennings County High School Music Parapro, Termination, Sonia Jackson, Sand Creek Elementary Sped Parapro, Carter Leak, Jennings County High School Assistant Track and Field Coach, Heather Lucas, North Vernon Elementary Sped Parapro, Michaela Stidham, North Vernon Elementary Sped Parapro, and Shelby Wilson, North Vernon Elementary Parapro.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion to accept those as read.
So moved.
Motion by Travis, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cheryl, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0, and I think we have Ms. Chandler in the building.
Yes, exactly. Layla Chandler, who's our newest Brush Creek Elementary Parapro, is here, and I would love to have you go over to it. Mine start on the side. They would love to be able to introduce you to the school corporation. And her proud mom is here with her tonight as well. But we're so grateful to have Layla with us.
I work with your mama. We're so glad to have you on the team. And then I think we have one additional.
Yes, and also Carl Pemberton, Jennings County High School Girls Head Wrestling Coach.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept that nomination.
So moved.
Motion by Pat, do I have a second? Second by Chelsea, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next we'll go down under finances, some donations.
Yes, I'm asking approval to accept the following donations. Anonymous, $100 to Brush Creek for student lunches. Don Coors, $200 to Brush Creek for student snacks. Alicia Roberts, State Farm Insurance Agency, $375 to Hayden for Mr. Robbins' field trip lunches to Lucas Oil and the Old Spaghetti Factory. Sciotes, $50 to Hayden Elementary for the 23-24 Art Club. Scipio United Methodist Church, $100 to Scipio Elementary for student lunch accounts. USA Football, $750 to the Jennings County Youth Football Program to purchase new uniforms and or equipment. Jennings County FFA, fresh fruit with a value of $1,400 to Jennings County Elementary Schools for students in need and activities. John and Jennifer Cartier, $250 to middle school STEM program. Rose Acres, 2 cases eggs to the Jennings County High School Panther Pantry. Keenan Castaner family, 7 bags of food to the Jennings County High School Panther Pantry. Wayne Zamora, $200 for the Jennings County High School Winter Formal. K&G Sports, $225 to the Jennings County Elementary Music Program. Anita Bailey, Ag and the classroom books, $102 value to the elementaries. And 4 donations for the Hope Food Program, $101 from the middle school, $100 from the middle school athletics, $40 Susie Webster, and $50 Sand Creek Elementary.
I have a motion to accept those donations as read. Motion by Earl, do I have a second? Second by Chelsea, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Next we're down under property. You have an update?
Update on the CTE renovation project. Just wanted to give you a heads up that we are coming up on construction bids soon. So advertised in the paper over the next 2 weeks. The bid opening date is February 1st, and our intention is to bring back the winning bid to you for a February 8th meeting. So things are moving along, which we're very excited about.
Very excited. Very excited. And then next we have under relations, we have an MOU.
Yes, asking for approval first for an MOU with the health department, very similar to what we do annually with the Red Cross.
Entertain a motion to accept that MOU.
So moved.
Motion by Mary Lynn, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cheryl, any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0.
approval of an MOU with Ball State to allow student teachers, counselors, etc.
Do I have a, entertain a motion to accept that MOU? Earl, do I have a second? Second by Pat. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. And I think we're down under other.
I don't have any other.
Having nothing else on the agenda, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Pat, second by Travis. All those in favor? 7-0. Meeting adjourned.